一个 ice kacang，吃的，多少
2块。
块啊，很贵啊。来，谢谢。
I was always brought up in a very religious and strict museum family. I like rock music and electronic music. We'll always look for gigs and festivals. And being in that kind of environment, enjoying music, I was not too proud of myself. I was engaging in vices. I was looking for peace, I think, internally. I was looking for how can I redeem myself. You know, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm still doing it, but I'm still enjoying it and having fun. I started looking online, and eventually that led me down the spirals to look through religious videos on the internet and then watching a lot of conspiracy videos. I feel very sad about that. No one was really doing anything. It's like there is no humanity I did not really prepare anything. I was mentally prepared and that's about it. I never really think it through, physically in terms of like what to bring, what to bring in. I just wanted to do something. Even if it means taking a pause.
At the very beginning, I have some financial issues. Some debts I unable to clear. At that time, I came across the news about conflict in Syria. So I started to dig more into it, and slowly I started to gain interest in ISIS. At the moment, I didn't have any specific plans about what I'm going to do there. I just made up my mind on the exact same day, and just bought a ticket on the same day as well. I did not tell anybody, I just left. The main point was to run away from all my problems in Singapore. My life was miserable. It made not much difference to their life. I understand how it felt. At that time I was just thinking, like honestly, how to help people and others as much as I can, since I have so many troubles in Singapore already. Maybe if I go to Syria I could do something greater than what I can here. Maybe I could make my life more meaningful in a way.
A Singaporean man has been detained under the Internal Security Act for intending to go to Syria to join the terrorist group Islamic State.
Welcome Pak Huda to Singapore. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having
Resource
me.
and Counseling Center.
So this is the place
Yes.
that usually most of the member hang out.
Yes, so this is the place where we receive a lot of visitors as well as students, and they are young ones, to learn about the initiative that we do, as well as to make them understand what is all this issue of radicalization. issue of terrorism.
So you got radicalization issues here as well in Singapore?
Oh yes, of course, definitely, Pauda. I think if you read the news, there's a lot of cases, especially that involve the young ones. So they try to join ISIS.
Really?
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's you can just read them on the papers. Yeah.
Why do you think?
I think one of the issue is that that is what I want to ask you also, Pauda. The issue of online radicalization.
Okay.
Because I believe it's not just an issue here. I believe it's an issue everywhere. It's a global issue. That's why the question I want to ask you is that how someone, especially the youth, they can get radicalized?
Perhaps the best way for me to answer your question, I will use my own experience. So it was August 2017. I was fortunate enough to be part of the rescue mission of Indonesian government. We managed to rescue 18 Indonesians. In that process, I learned two super important lessons through two interesting individuals as well. The first story is like Febri.
Agustus 2017. Dulu kan saya jemput itu gitu ya?
Ya, 2017 terus saya kemarin ke sini.
Waalaikumsalam. Yang penting semangat. Perjalananmu gimana dulu? Cerita dulu. Kenapa dulu berangkat?
Sekitar tahun 2015, sekitar bulan Juli itu udah sering beberapa kali keluarga pada pergi gitu kan, 2 hari, 3 hari baru balik. Pas awal Agustus 2015 mereka pergi, benar-benar pergi tanpa ngabarin, tanpa ngajak. Dan sampai berapa hari kemudian baru deh aku mulai bingung, kok nggak balik-balik, lama banget tuh kan. Akhirnya coba sempat telepon ke nomor-nomor keluarga semuanya satu-satu, nah itu nggak ada yang jawab. Operatornya bilang nomor udah nggak aktif gitu kan. Sampai berapa minggu kemudian setelah kejadian itu kan nelpon nggak kemana-mana, nggak bisa. Ternyata pas ditelusuri berapa lama itu kan pergi semua ke sana kan, rame-rame. Di situ udah mulai stres, depresi, panik ya, tentu mental breakdown gitu ya. Kenapa nih bener-bener pergi semua, terutama bunda gitu.
Dulu kok ditinggal kenapa nih, Bu?
Ini ditinggal. Karena dia waktu itu kan, kita ngaji. Dia ini males-malesan, kita nggak ajak aja.
Dan selama 6 bulan sampai setahun udah pada pergi itu, terus aku ngekos. Selama ngekos tuh sampai 1 tahun sendirian itu sering banget sakit waktu itu. Sampai itu nggak berapa kali itu, jadi di dalam kamar aja kan, nggak sosialisasi. Mulai pikir gitu kan, aduh kok kenapa gitu, selalu berpikir gitu kan, kok pada pergi semua gitu kan. Bener nggak sih kok di sana itu janji-janji di media itu mereka sampai percaya gitu kan. Sampai akhirnya mungkin yang Bunda bilang, yang keluarga bilang itu emang benar kali ya.
He wanted to travel to Syria because he wanted to meet his mother. His mother left Indonesia and he was alone and he's so close with his mother.
Sampai setahun itu akhirnya kan browsing-browsing di internet, lihat media-medianya, yang pro ISIS tuh waktu itu ada Ar-Rahmah, Al-Mustaqbal, sama Milah Ibrahim. Itu 3 itu yang ku ingat.
Instead of asking other opinion about Syria through Ustaz, through proper channel, he went to social media. So he did browsing, and then he learned that, wow, it could be good for me to travel to Syria. It is a better place, like a good place, and so that I can meet his mother.
Waktu itu pikiran pokoknya cuman ke orang tua, ke bunda aja waktu itu kan. Benar-benar pikiran segala macam, stres, depresi gitu kan. Terus lihat media-media yang di pro ISIS itu, terus ditambah dengan ingatan tentang keluarga, gimana di sana mereka ngapain. Aduh.
Miraculously, he managed to travel to Syria. Then he met his mother, but quickly realized that all the promises of ISIS is completely not true. Basically, he witnessed by his own eyes the lies of ISIS. You know, the brutality, you know, like all this harsh life. But what I learned here is the combination between a social issue, individual social issues, and online. Another interesting case will be the story of he was 10 when his father forced him to travel. So I met him when he was 12. It suggests that remind us still the importance of offline, meaning the offline recruitment where the parent recruited their family.
Kalau orang tuanya sudah yakin, dia pasrah gitu. Bahkan lebih senang kalau anaknya itu mati syahid itu. Insya Allah kalau akidahnya betul-betul ya 100% dalam manhaj Rasulullah itu.
Radicalization is through his father.
Yes, through his father, meaning online is important, but offline is also still a powerful tool for recruitment.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alladzina idza asabathum musibatun qalu inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Aku dari kecil tuh dimasukin ke pondok pesantren sama Abi. Udah berapa lama, 4 tahun kayak di pondok pesantren. Aku diajak keluar. Abi ngajak pindah ke Suriah. Ya aku ikut aja sama orang tua. Pas sudah sampai sana kan orang Indonesianya udah banyak gitu ya. Nah di situ pertama kalinya ngeliat senjata gitu kan. Oh, ada senjata gitu. AK-47. Kan dari dulu udah tahu senjata itu, cuman belum pernah ngeliat langsung. Jadi kayak wah seneng banget ya senjata gitu kan. Anak kecil, anak-anaknya ditaruh di sekolah, situ kita belajar latihan tentang belajar bongkar pasang senjata, nembak juga pernah sih. Di sekolah itu disebutnya sih Asbel Khilafah, kayak anak-anak khilafah gitu, pemuda-pemuda khilafah kayak gitu, yang anak-anak yang sudah dilatih untuk persiapan lah begitu.
Itu yang tadi sholat Jumat.
Dia gak tahu. Itu hidupnya kok nggak sini ya?
Sekarang yang ikut dia itu tinggal 1 orang.
Ini kenal nggak kira-kira ini? Ini iya.
Anaknya Soleh itu.
Iya. Bisa cerita nggak? Bapaknya itu dulu katanya dia pernah di penjara di sini, gimana?
Pernah dulu. Dia ditangkapnya di Ambon. Waktu itu dia kasus bom Cimanggis bersama Aman Abdurrahman. Dia dapat vonis 9 atau 10 kalau nggak salah.
Jadi memang dulu si bapaknya itu Soleh ini memang pernah di penjara di sini.
Pernah dari Ambon dilayar ke sini.
Terus berapa lama tinggal bareng bersama bapaknya?
Lama, dia dulu masih kecil waktu di sini. Itu nggak pernah sekolah di sekolah umum, dia memang dilarang sama orang tuanya. Jadi ya dididiknya di rumahnya aja, ngaji, belajar nulis, apa semua itu di rumahnya. Dan itu saya tahu dari cerita bapaknya sendiri. Ketika saya tanya itu kenapa anaknya nggak dimasukkan sekolah? Enggak lah, sekolah-sekolah sekarang nanti terkontaminasi anaknya, pemikiran-pemikiran yang sesat katanya. Soleh itu memang orangnya overprotective ya, sama keluarganya itu. Sangat overprotective, terutama anaknya ini. Jadi dididik sendiri. Terus saya dengar-dengar ketika dia bebas itu berangkat ke Syria semua dengan keluarganya. Terus saya dengar juga Solehnya udah syahid katanya di sana. Gitu.
After they come back to Indonesia, I have been embarking controversial approach, working directly with them. Of course, working closely with so many stakeholders. But our aim is, I believe that people like and Febri could serve as a credible voice because they have been there, they witnessed the brutality of ISIS. so they can start sharing their own stories. Like basically, don't even flirt, to join this of ISIS, because I've been there. It was not true, what ISIS has been promising to us.
Dari ada satu orang yaitu Pak Guru dari Spanyol, dia bantu kami, alhamdulillah kita bisa kembali lagi ke Indonesia.
Well, I believe these two individuals are very unique, and I think there are a lot of things for me, especially to learn from these two individuals. So I hope I would like to get to meet them.
Yes, I think it is better. I think that will be ideal for you to one day travel to Indonesia and then meet them, and then we can learn together, so we can collaborate in the future.
It's a period of time where our youth here in Singapore engrossed with social media. Share Google is now the current trend. The most simplest way for the young ones to seek answers to their questions. Their reality is actually online. So these are the challenges that we face here in Singapore, particularly the young ones.